Thank you for joining me on today's episode of the SEY Docs, where we look at the things that matter around the world on the third day of November 2025. This is the platform where news, controversies, mysteries, and unfiltered facts are highlighted. My name is Alan Cole Young. Thank you for staying tuned. Today, our focus is on the ongoing conflict in Sudan. We look at the history, the major players in the conflict, the current situation on the ground, and the measures and sentiments of leaders and organizations around the world. The ongoing war in Sudan has had devastating consequences in the northern African country, with the United Nations High Commissioner of Refugees reporting about 4,000 deaths since the beginning of the conflict this year, and over 1.1 million in dire need of humanitarian aid as of October this year. To understand the ongoing war in Sudan, it is important to look at the history surrounding the conflict. The ongoing crisis has had its roots in regional, ethnic, and political grievances. The conflict can be dated back in 2003, when the non-Arab rebel groups rose up against the government for neglecting their regions. In response, the government supported an Arab militia called the Janjaweed that committed large-scale atrocities. These rebels were later on established as Rapid Support Force by the then President of Sudan Omar al-Bashir in 2013 and worked alongside the official national army. Jumping to 2019, when the military ousted the then President Omar al-Bashir and seized power in a military coup, tensions grew between the Sudanese Armed Forces, which is the official national army, and the Rapid Support Force, the RSF, a paramilitary group in the northern African country. On April 2023, the conflict between the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces erupted violently as the latter launched attacks on military bases and key infrastructure. The fight quickly spread from Khartoum to parts of the country like Darfur, Kordofan, Gazira, among other regions. By early 2025, millions were displaced both internally and across the border, around 1.1 million people, with both parties accused of serious humanitarian violations. The causative factors of the conflict are three. 1. Whether the RSF should be integrated into the national army. 2. The economic collapse of the country characterized by inflation, loss of livelihoods, and severe shortages. And 3. Pre-existing regional tensions such as in Darfur, and others include state fragility and ethnic divisions. While all this is happening in front of the eyes of the world, various organizations and leaders have put forth their sentiments about the ongoing conflict in Sudan. The United Nations in a statement, the human rights warned that this violence must end. The UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator condemned the deliberate attacks on civilians and demanded respect for humanitarian law. The UN Security Council has condemned the attacks by the RSF and expressed deep concern at the escalation of violence. Pope Leo, in his address, has condemned the indiscriminate violence in Darfur, especially against women and children, and called for an immediate ceasefire. The Red Cross has described the situation as horrific, and the Amnesty International has warned that aid must reach those trapped between the floods and the conflict. The situation in Sudan paints a picture of a fragile government, unchecked powers from both military and heads of state, economic despair, and ignored grievances from the outside world. In the next episode, we will tackle the uncensored facts about the history, growth, financials, and the role that the RSF has played in the region's geopolitics. My name is Alan Cole. See you next time.